turn on the, I forget to turn on the recording. Okay. Okay, so let's see that if you already install R and RStudio, this is kind of like the interface you will see. Okay, so actually R is not a, as I say it again and again, R is not a formal programming language. Okay, it is actually simple an interface for data object computation. Okay, so in R you can read or define some data object, and you can do computation on this data object. Okay, and it is not a formal programming language from day one, right? In Bell Lab, as I told you, I worked for Bell Lab at that time, right? So I actually see how this script are developed from the beginning, right? From the beginning, we do not design it as a formal programming language, simply for simple data analysis environment. Okay, so it's not as efficient as Python or some other engineering programming language, but it is very easy to get started with. That is its advantage. Okay, and it's good enough. Although it's simple, but it is already good enough for most of the business analytic job you want to do in your computer. All right, so it's still very popular if you are in the business school, if you are in the medical school, in the law school, right? In some social research area, R is still a very popular one language for the non-engineering people. I still believe that R is a very good choice to get started with programming. Okay. Now, so as I say, when you turn on this RStudio environment, you will see like usually you will see 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. Okay, and this panel is called the console panel. You can see it here, right? The console panel. Okay, so you will see a prompt, right? And after the prompt, there is your cursor, right? So you can type in a mathematical expression. For example, you can put in 3 plus 500. Then after you type in 3 plus 500 and enter return, you will see a 503 immediately, right? Okay. So you put in an expression in the console, and then the expression will be evaluated, and the result will print out in the console immediately. Okay. So it's kind of like interactive expression evaluating environment. Okay, of course this expression can be very complicated. For example, like quote 500 plus 200 actually divided by 2.5 divided by 2.5, something like that. Okay, whatever expression you type in and you press return in console, you would put the answer out of here. Okay. Okay. So in this case, it's like a calculator, right? Right? It's like a calculator. But for programming, we basically not only do simple mathematical expression, right? We can define data object for our own use. Okay. For example, I can define an object call it X. Sorry. If I define an object and I call it X, and I put a equal sign, and then whatever the value that I type in the right hand side of the equal sign will be evaluated and assigned to X. Okay, So for example, I still do this, right? Oh, sorry. X equal to 500 plus 200 divided by 2.5. Okay. And then if I do this, you see that the result of this expression is no longer print out, right? If I do not use the equal and the x, right? If I simply type this, the results actually just print out here, right? But right now I put a x equal, and that the result will be stored into a data object, and the object name is x, okay? And the object value is 280. Okay? You see that? Right? So this is what programming is getting complicated, right? You can define your data object. The way you define data object is very simple in R, right? You simply have a expression, right? And then you use the equal sign to assign the result of this expression into an object name, right? And after you do that, you will see an object. This is called object area, right? So you will see the object called X. And the value of this object is 280. You see that? Okay. Let's do another one. For example, I want to do define another object called Y. And Y is equal to X plus 500. Okay? So here, the expression, as you can see here, the expression can use already defined object, right? So it's like algebra, like the primary school algebra. It's very intuitive, isn't it? Right? So what will happen after I press return? We will expect to see that there will be a Y object also defined, right? And its value will be how much? Y will be defined as X plus 500, right? And what is the value of X? So Y will be equal to like 780, isn't it? Right? So when you're doing programming, you will define or you will create some data object along the way. Okay? And after you define the object, you can use the object in the expression. Right? For example, if I redefine Y, say I already have Y defined it, right? But I want to redefine Y as Y plus 700 again. Okay? And in this way, Y will be, the value of Y will be updated. Okay? Because Y is already defined and its current value is 780, right? But I make a statement saying that I want to redefine Y as Y plus 700, right? Okay, you can actually plus X, whatever you like. As long as you can combine the data object, the mathematical operator, whatever you want to in this expression, and in this way Y will be redefined. Okay, let's make it simple. Y equal to Y plus like 700. Okay, so Y will be redefined as 780 plus 700 is, it will become 1480, right? Okay. So actually, the programming is programming in R is actually simply just like pretty simple. I call it R is actually an interactive data object computation environment, right? So the way we do programming in R is to define or update data object with expression. Okay? It is an interactive environment. So if you type in the expression, you will evaluate it interactively. Okay? And you can actually assign a value of an expression to an object name. In this way, we will create a data object with expression, right? Create, if the name is not used, then you are creating a new data object, right? And you can also, if the object name is already used, then you can still assign a new value to the data name, right? And its old value will be overwritten and disappear. Okay? So do the programming in R is nothing but just a process of you only need to know 4 simple rules, right? Then you can start do programming in R already. Okay, you only need to know 4 simple rules. Okay, first thing is every piece of data is an object. Okay, and then we can define a data object by using equal sign and an object name. Okay, and in addition to create a new object, you can actually assign something to an existing object. And in this case, you are kind of overwriting the old content in this object name with the new value. Okay? That is called update, right? So the programming process, pretty simple, is just like you are using the expression to define or update data object in a sequence, right? That's what we call programming. Okay? Right? So it's not that complicated, right? Okay. So let's go through a very quick example here. For example, if I have a simple example that I want to take an action, right? And the action will have 3 different outcomes, right? So outcome A probability is 0.5, outcome B probability is 0.3, 0.2, and then if A happen, I will earn $500. If B happen, I will lose 100, and if C happen, I will earn 80, right? So if I want to know the expected value of this event, right? This action. When I take this action, I know that it has A, B, C outcome, and this is the probability and the corresponding payoff of the different 3 outcomes. Then mathematically we can say it this way, right? We can calculate the expected value in this way, right? If we want to do this in R, then we can do it like something like this. First of all, if you want to do something like in a sequence, you don't want to type it here in console, because in console we will you need to type it again and again if you make mistake, right? So in this area, it's what we call programming area. It's like kind of like a text editor. Whatever you type in here would not be executed immediately. It's just like a text editor, right? So you can define the object. Let's clear this existing object and clear this area first, okay? And then here, I define an object called probability, right? And I define it as this C and a parenthesis in R is called function call. We can create a vector of probability, 0.5, 0.3, and 0.2. So in this way, you will create an object called probability, and it is a vector. It's not a single value. This time it is a vector, right, of 3 value, okay, in order to reflect this 3 probability, isn't it? Okay, and then we will create the other vector called payoff, right? So it is payoff equal to, again, we use this C function to create a vector of what is that? What is the value? 50. Okay. As you see that after I type in this code, nothing is happened here, right? And nothing is happened here, right? Because this is programming. In this programming area, it's like a text editor, right? If you do something right, you can go back and do modification, right? And make sure it's good. And then we want to calculate its expected value, right? So for expected value, we are doing a summation. This sum is actually a built-in function of R programming language. It's like C is to create vector. The sum function will sum the an expression, right? We want to sum what? Let's see what happens if we do probability times payoff. Now, if you want to execute this 3 lines of code, let me execute 1 line of code one by one. Okay, I execute this one, then you can see that after I execute this line, I will have a data object called probability, and it is the numeric vector of length 3, right? It's the vector, it's numeric, and you have 3 components inside, okay? And then payoff is another numeric vector of 3, right? And in R, if we time the vector, it actually would do element-wise operation, because I do the production, right? So it will be 50 times 0.5 minus 100 times 0.3 and 80 times 0.2. You can see the result. See, 25 is 50 times 0.5, right? And the 16 is actually 80 5.2, isn't it, right? And after we time the probability and payoff, as we can see here, right, we multiply the probability and payoff, and then we do a summation, isn't it, right? In R, there is a built-in function called sum, so I can like put this in R, when we want to do a function call, we actually put this. If we want to evaluate this thing, as I say, it was actually a vector of 3, right? And I would take a sum of these 3 numbers. I do a sum, right? I do a sum. I call the sum function and give it a vector of 3 numeric value, and it would actually evaluate the sum. The value is 11. Okay? So, and actually I can, instead of print out the, this is the expected value equal to sum, right? And then after that, I print out the expected value. See? This is the program already. Okay? So, so you can set this program to a name. For example, I set it to, sorry. If I set it to like EXP VAL, okay. And then you can see that there's a file called EXPVAL.R, right? So this program will be stored in your working directory. Okay. Okay. So now in this simple program, if after 2 days and something is changed, right? For example, the payoff is changed from 50 to like 70, and this payoff is changed from 100 to like 200, and then the probability is changed to 0.1 and 0.4, right? If the situation change, then you actually simply need to do a modification and run the program again, and you will get the new expected value, right? So in this process, what we are doing, we are creating, right, data object, right, and then we are doing expression to define the new data object, right? And that is what we do in R programming, right? In R, expression can be a combination of 3 things, okay? The first thing is the data object, right? The second thing is the mathematical operator, right? The third thing is the functional call, right? Okay? So expression is the combination of just 3 things: data object, operator, and function call. But expression is very, very flexible, isn't it? Right? So if I want to, I can actually like do if for some reason I want to like after doing the sum, I want to also add minus the cost, right, of 60, right? Okay, and then maybe we want to minus the tax, right? For example, maybe I want to pay 25% of tax, right? Okay, so expression can be very, very expressive, isn't it? It's very like the algebra, expression, algebraic expression that you learn in the junior high school, right? Isn't it? It can be very expressive, very lengthy, right? Sometimes you don't want to put a very lengthy expression, so you can define some variable to like kind of like prevent a very lengthy one, right? But as long as you can specify, you can express, isn't it? Right. So as I say, if you do not assign this to anything, it will just print out the result. Okay. And if you assign it to something called x, then this value would come to a project called x, isn't it? Right? So our programming is kind of like quite simple, isn't it? It's just object, right? You create object, or you can update the existing object value, okay? And how can you create or update the value? By using expression. And what is expression? It's just a combination of operator, function call, and also data objects, right? So actually that's all. I mean, that's all. You do R programming, that is all, okay? Everything is object. You create an object or update the object by expression. What is the expression? It is just a combination of three things. It's a combination of object, operator, and function calls. Now you will say, so there are so many operators, right? There are so many function calls. How can I remember them? You don't have to actually. If you go to the there is a sorry. You don't at this point you don't really need to remember all of the mathematical operator and function call before you do programming. Okay, the way that I want you to do it is like in this week's homework assignment, I want you to take the data course, Introduction to R. It's kind of like self-learning type of things. Okay, you go there and you it will kind of like teach you the very basic of R, right? And then in a very well-defined interface. Okay, so you follow that step, then you will learn the basic of R. Actually, the complication of programming, as I say, it's just like object expression, and just define object by or update object by expression. That's all, right? So what is so difficult in programming? The complexity of programming will raise up in the fact that actually an object cannot be a, as you can see here, an object can be a data structure rather than just a single value, right? This data object is not a single value. It is actually a numeric vector. Okay, the data type is numeric, and the data structure is vector. Okay, and in the business environment, actually in the natural environment, what is data? Data is actually the representation of information, right? Data is representation of information, right? So, and by nature, the information can have different type. Some information are numeric value. Some information are logical, it's true, false. Some of them are categorical factors. Some of them are characteristic string, like names, right? Okay. So data have many data type, and each of this type can have different structure. For example, you can have a vector, as we have seen, okay? And in your homework today, this week, you will get familiar with different data type and get familiar with different data structures in your homework assignment today, okay? And you will also get familiar with some of the basic operators, some of the basic syntax and function code in this week's assignment. Okay? So as I say, DataCamp is a kind of like a self-learning tool, right? So you just follow the step and it will guide you through the different type of data value and different type of data structure. Okay? Actually, in order to let's go to the unit page. And sorry, the time is already 11:57. We might run a little bit late today. Okay. Let's go to the unit page, web page, and take a look at our assignment this week. Okay, so you already fill in the form, right? So the other assignment is to install R in RStudio. Okay, and then I have a very short YouTube video, right? Basically to actually just to kind of wrap up what I have told you today. Okay, and then I want you to apply a DataCamp account, right? You already give TA your Gmail or DataCamp account, right? So and then use that DataCamp account. You can like go to this course, okay? Log in and you can go to this course called Introduction to R. And as you can see that, let me, I think there's something. Okay, so as you can see that in this course, in this online course, they are like first is basic, and second is vector and matrix and factor and data frame and list, right? So as you can see that it was organized by the data structures, right? You will get familiar with different data type in different data structure. Get you familiar with what is R, right? Okay, so if you go into this interface, you just like see, because I already have done something, so it's like for every section there will be a lot of thing to do, right? And if you have done one task, then it will give you a point, right? If you do it right, you just give you a point, right? For example, in in the first text of section 1, it just want you to calculate 3 plus 4, calculate 6 plus 12, right? So this is like super easy, right? In the beginning, this will be empty, right? So you will need to like type in the 3 plus 4, sorry. And here is like 6 plus 12, right? And you can push the run code. And then you will see the result here, right? Okay? And if you are satisfied with this result, you can submit answer, okay? And after you submit answer, you will give you correct. If you are correct, it will give you the point, right? Because I already write this test, so it will not give me extra point. And then here you will try to get you familiar with the arithmetic operators, right? As the second test, okay? So again, you can, after you finish the assignment, you just submit the answer, okay? And then continue. And this one, you want to express how to assign a value. This symbol, the less than and minus point, this operator is the same as the equal sign, so you can use interchangeably, okay? So it just assign a value to x and print out the value, right? So just do that. Now, this assignment is an assignment that I haven't, okay? So it says that assign the value phi to a variable. The variable is actually just data object. It's another name of data object, right? Formally, it should call data object, but usually in some context, it will be named it variable, right? Okay, so the data object and variable, they are used interchangeably. So you want to create a variable called my apple. Want to create a data object called my apple and assign a name phi, right? Isn't it? And here you want to print out the value of my apple. It's just type my apple, isn't it? Right? And then you can run the code and see if it's satisfied. My apple is fine, right? So you can submit the answer and you can continue, right? Okay. So this is the first 4 things, right? And then you will go on, and then after you finish all of the things, you will like now if you run into trouble, right? For example, if you like you don't know what to do, right? At this point, there's a hint, right? But if you take the hint, you will not get 100 points. You will only get 70 points. Okay. And if for some reason after reading the hint you still do not know how to do, right? Then you can actually show the answer, but you will not get the point. Okay. Your objective this week is to go through all of the this is like kind of like section 1, right? You want to finish all of the sections, okay? And in this process, you will get familiar with the basic variable or data object type and the data structures, and also get familiar with some of the mathematical operator and basic function codes. Is that okay? Okay? Okay. So if you run into troubles, you can mail to TA for help. You can join the TA session Tuesday morning at 10:30. TA will announce the class noon, okay? And if you still cannot complete the things, as I say, you can always use the hint and the short answer. But make sure if you do that, make sure you can read the code and understand what it means and why it's doing that, right? Okay? And then if you run into problem, like just consult TA and write to me. You're welcome to like ask for assistance anytime you like, right? Let's go back to here. So after you finish everything, you can and you go to the course front page. You can download a certificate like this one. You can download a certificate like this, okay, with your name, right? Okay, so finish the things, right? As I say, your objective is to finish it, get the basic idea, right, of data type, data structure, operator, function code, right? And then get this certificate, and then you want to like should keep it open, and then you upload to you upload your certificate to this folder, okay? The file name is your student ID, okay? And then underscore introduction underscore R, okay? Finish the data chem course, download the certificate, okay? And then you send it here. The assignment is due like Sunday night. Okay. I think week one assignment. I think the due date should be like. Okay, I will change the due date to the 17th. Okay. Okay. So the due date is the 17th. Okay, not Sunday. It's one mistake. I will correct it right after the course. Okay. So this is what we want to do today. By the way, this is not a simple course, as you already can feel that. If you want to take this course, you really need to invest some large amounts of your time in this course to doing homework. Okay. Okay. Doing that homework and installation R will take you like maybe 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, right? Sometimes it will take you even longer, right? So first of all, this is not a simple course at all. If you do not have enough time, then I would suggest you consider, right? When you do the homework assignment, you will see that when you go to the complicated data structure like matrix, like data frame, like list, right? If you do not feel like you can actually if you do not feel comfortable, it's kind of like the reason that I want you to like go to the data chem and do that thing is like I want you to like programming this thing is like, although it's simply like the junior high school kind of like algebra, something like that, right? But some people will know when they get to the data structure things, things will start to get complicated, right? So think it through and see if you can take it, right? Get the feeling of, and you will need to like spend like 3 hours, 4 hours, and maybe more for every week's homework assignment, right? And when you get to the end of the work, the loading will get heavier and heavier. Right? This is not easy, right? But it is very useful. I can tell you that people are looking for the manager, the data savvy manager, all the time, right? It's very, very popular in the human resource market, right? But it's not an easy course to get. You have a certain load, okay? And TA and myself, we are here to help you when you run into any problem. So don't let the problem don't stuck at one point. Like try to solve it by yourself, right? Go to your teammate and try to do the homework together, and or ask for help for me and for TA. We will try our best to teach you not only programming, but also how to apply programming to business data to make business strategy and business decision. Right? That's all. That's all I want to say today. Sorry, it's already 12 minutes after 12, but as of today, we have so many things to do. So that's some delay. I hope that will not happen starting from next week. Any question, comment? So you have confidence to do that, right? So try your best and see if you can handle it. If you can handle this type of things, then like you have the potential to becoming the most sexiest human resource in the job market after you take this course. Okay, it's not easy though. Okay, so that's for this week, and I will see you next week, hopefully. Okay.